Tyler earns $85,000 a year. He's got a nice apartment, a decent car, and he puts money into his 401k every single month. By every signal he's ever been taught to read, Tyler is solidly middle class. Tyler's net worth is negative $7,000. And the uncomfortable part is, he's not the exception, he's the pattern. So let's be honest about what just happened. Tyler looks fine on the outside and he's underwater on the inside. The reason is simple. Your income isn't your wealth, your net worth is. Income is what passes through your hands. Net worth is what actually stays. And the only way to know which one you're really building is to stop guessing and measure Tyler against the real thing, the actual Federal Reserve data for his exact age. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where you rank for your age, why plenty of high earners sit near the bottom of the pile for their own age group, and the 3 numbers that move you up the board. On this channel, we run the actual math. For most of us, a few things feel like proof we're doing okay. A good income feels like good financial health. Making every payment on time feels like building something real. Watching the 401k autodraft every month feels like being on track. All 3 of those feelings are completely understandable. And not one of them is the same thing as wealth. That gap between feeling fine and being fine is exactly where Tyler is quietly living. Here's the flip. When people actually sit down and calculate their net worth honestly, most of them find they're further behind than they pictured. And the definition is almost insultingly simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. That's the whole scoreboard. It doesn't care about your salary at all. This is why someone pulling in 6 figures can land near the bottom of the rankings for their age, while someone earning half as much, carrying no debt and quietly investing, ends up ranked above them. The paycheck is the engine. Net worth is the distance you've actually traveled. A lot of people are flooring a strong engine that never left the driveway. And if you've never once calculated this number, that isn't laziness and it isn't a character flaw. Look at what you were actually trained to watch. Your bank app shows you a balance, your credit app shows you a score, your statement shows you a minimum payment. Every single number the system puts in front of you measures how well you shuffle money around. None of them measure how much of it you keep. Nobody ever handed you the real scoreboard. You weren't failing the test, you were just never shown the one number that the test is actually about. So let's put real numbers on the board. This is the most recent Federal Reserve survey, median net worth by age. The median is the household sitting in the exact middle, half above, half below. Under 35, the middle household sits at $39,000. By ages 45 to 54, the middle is $247,000. By the late 60s, it's around $410,000. Now find Tyler. He's 34, so he belongs in that first group, where the middle is $39,000. Tyler is at negative $7,000. That's $46,000 below the median for his exact age. Run that against the full distribution, and Tyler lands somewhere in the bottom 10 to 15% of everyone under 35. And remember, this is not a guy who earns nothing. He earns $85,000. He lands at the bottom because income and net worth are 2 completely different scoreboards, and almost nobody is keeping the second one. Tyler is illustrative, the medians are real. So why does almost nobody keep that second scoreboard? Follow the incentive. Banks want your eyes locked on your monthly payment because a comfortable payment is what keeps you borrowing. Card companies want your eyes on your score because a high score just means you qualify to take on more credit. The numbers that get marketed to you the hardest are the ones that make money for the people marketing them. And now notice what's missing from basically every piece of financial advertising you have ever seen in your life. Net worth, the one number that actually tracks whether you are getting richer, barely appears anywhere because there's no product to sell on the back of it. Somewhere along the line, a culture built around building wealth got quietly swapped for a culture built around managing payments. And most of us never noticed the switch. Now let's give the other side its fair shot, because the honest version of this argument actually makes it stronger. A few things here are genuinely true. Cost of living is real. Being $46,000 below median hits completely differently in a city where rent swallows half your paycheck than it does in a cheaper part of the country. And this data does not adjust for that. Career stage is real too. A 34-year-old who just spent years in training or school is supposed to look behind on paper, and many of them catch up fast. And starting late is not the same as being finished. The math we're about to run works whether you start today or started a decade ago. The goal here was never to make you feel behind. It's to make sure you're at least measuring the right race. Let's check the scoreboard. Same Tyler 20 years from now at 54. 3 versions of the same man, and the only difference between them is one decision repeated every month. Projections are illustrative, assuming a 7% average annual return, not a guarantee. Version 1, he changes nothing. He keeps drifting, keeps making the payments, keeps putting in the bare minimum. 20 years of that floats him up to roughly $120,000. That sounds like progress, right up until you remember the median for his new age group is $247,000. After 20 years, he's still below the middle of the pack. Version 2, he gets intentional. He calculates the number, sets a real savings rate, and lets compounding do the heavy lifting. At around 13% of his income invested, he lands near $500,000. That clears the median by a mile and puts him in the top third of his age group. Version 3, he gets aggressive. He pushes the rate toward a quarter of his income, employer match included, and in 20 years he crosses $1 million. That puts him in roughly the top 20% for his age. And here's the part that should reset how you think about all of this. $1 million at 54 does not put you in the top 10%. For that age group, the top 10% line actually sits up around 1.76 million. Even a millionaire is closer to the middle than to the top. That's how skewed the real distribution is. Same person, different math. From negative $7,000 to $1 million in 20 years, and the only thing that ever changed was which number he decided to watch. So here's the rule, and it's the entire channel in one sentence. You cannot build wealth by tracking the wrong number. Net worth is the only scoreboard that matters, and most people have never once calculated it honestly. Fix that one thing, and everything else about your money starts to come into focus. Here's what actually works, and the first part takes about 10 minutes. 1. Calculate your net worth today. Add up everything you own, the cash, the accounts, the car, the home if you have one. Then subtract everything you owe, the cards, the loans, the mortgage. The number you're left with is your real starting line. 2. Compare that number to the median for your age, the same ones we just ran. That comparison is a starting line, not a verdict. Below median at 34 means something completely different from below median at 54. 3. Pick your lane. Drift, intentional or aggressive. Each one is really just a savings rate, and you watched exactly where each rate landed Tyler in 20 years. 4. Recalculate every quarter. 4 times a year, 10 minutes a time. The entire game is watching that one number climb. Tyler started this video underwater and middle class at the same moment. The only thing standing between him and that $1 million version of himself was knowing which number to watch. Now you know it too. So calculate yours this week, while it's still fresh before the motivation quietly fades. Because next time we run the salary negotiation math, your employer is quietly hoping you'll skip, including the lifetime cost of every raise conversation you talked yourself out of having. That number is far bigger than you think. The next one is on screen now.